Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be just a little candid chit chat about seasonal affective disorder and winter in general, why I find it so hard, and a lot of people that I know find it difficult as well. I know it's a huge thing that affects probably millions of people worldwide. It's just dealing with the winter season and also the things that help me to get through it. So I have roughly 10 or so things, specific things that really help me to deal with seasonal affective disorder or just winter in general. And just for some context, I have not actually been officially diagnosed as having seasonal affective disorder. I've just kind of self-diagnosed that to myself. I have noticed a significant change in how I feel and my mood and everything else when we really get into winter. My favorite time of year is fall. If we could just have September and October on repeat all year round with like a couple months of summer in there and maybe 1 month of winter, that would be like my ideal climate. So if anybody knows where I can find that climate, please let me know. I will promptly move there. So first of all, let's talk about why winter is so hard, or why I find it so hard. So first of all, it's dark. It's dark a lot of the time. The sun doesn't get up right now until closer to 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's down by about 5, quarter after 5 in the afternoon. Although you still have a little bit of twilight like before and after, so I guess you still have daylight for a little bit longer than that, but all in all, it's pretty dark a lot of the time. It's also very cold, and where I live in southern Canada, and it is not just a little cold, it's a lot cold. I could deal with it if it was just like 0 degrees Celsius or maybe -5 to -10. Like I can handle that as long as there's not a lot of wind. It's when it gets to be below -10, -15, -20, -25, and or there is a wind chill as well, it is bitterly cold. And I don't really care because like the cold doesn't bother me too much because I'm literally just usually going from my car to my house and to wherever I'm going. But because I have dogs and I need to walk them, I find it very difficult and not fun to walk them when it is that cold, or if we've had bad weather and it's icy on top of it. So just in general, having to be outdoors is not fun. I also can't wear my nice clothing, my clothing that makes me feel my best, the clothing that makes me feel alive and normal and pretty and happy. I don't get to wear those clothes in the winter. I have to wear pretty much leggings, or I'm not a jeans person, so I don't really wear pants or jeans in the winter. I just alternate between my work clothes and either joggers or leggings pretty much all winter. And that just makes you feel like a bum. You don't feel good about yourself when you are bundled up in winter clothes all winter, especially when the goal is to be warm. If the goal is to be like winter stylish, you can definitely do that. But when the goal is to just stay warm, usually you're just bundled up in whatever keeps you warm, and it's not usually cute or fun to wear and doesn't make you feel super elegant. I also feel kind of trapped in winter. I was actually watching one of Chloe Zadori's videos recently, and she was talking about how winter made her feel trapped. And I have never related to somebody so much as when she said that. I was like, yes, that is the exact way to describe winter. It definitely does make me feel trapped. It makes you feel like you can't go out, you can't do things, you can't wear your nice clothes, you aren't inspired, you're kind of stuck in this like dark, gloomy cage for a few months. Also, the lack of vitamin D and the sun is another huge factor that just physiologically affects your mood. And I'll talk more about that in a moment when I talk about things that help me cope. And then also on top of it, I also have PMDD. So that is like a very severe form of PMS. It is like PMS on steroids, where your mood is really, really bad. You have a really hard time coping mentally and sometimes physically as well. For me, I tend to get very depressed, very irritable, very tearful, feel very hopeless. I have a really hard time coping for about 7 to 10 days before my period starts, and usually for the first day or two of my period. It's just a nightmare. So combining that with seasonal affective disorder is just a recipe for disaster, and it makes it 10 times harder. That's kind of in a nutshell what I find really difficult about winter. Without further ado, let's get into the 10-ish things that really help me, I have found. And does it make it 100% perfect? No. There's always going to be positives and negatives. There's even negative things to summer, I have found. But anyways, these are the 10 things that help me cope with winter or seasonal affective disorder. Now, these are in no particular order. They're just literally as they came to my mind. So one of the things is exercise / the gym / weight training. Now, those of you who followed me for a while probably know that after I got my dog Ivar, I didn't go to the gym as often anymore. I still went pretty consistently for a while, but then I slowly started slowing down because I was just doing so much walking every day. I just literally didn't need to go. I felt that I was staying very fit. I got lots of physical activity. That was more so in the summer and the fall. Now that it's winter, I find I am slowing down a little bit again just because it's been too cold to go outside for really long walks. So instead of going for our morning hour walk, watching the sunrise in the mornings, now we're only out for 15-20 minutes because it's just too cold to stay out any longer than that. So I have found that I've definitely needed to pick up the exercise a little bit more. I do have a really cute home gym that I designed. It's not anything fancy. It's literally just in my basement, which is unfinished. But I put a cute little area rug down there. I've got an antique chair. I've got my weights. And I usually just drink something down there that has a little bit of caffeine in it, whether it's some coffee or an energy drink or something like that. And I work out and I watch YouTube videos. That's been really helpful. I also just renewed my gym membership because even though I didn't think I needed the gym, I definitely notice a change in my mood for the better. I feel much, much better when I go to the gym, when I lift weights. So I think I'm going to continue on with the weight training, even though I didn't think I needed it when I first started walking my dog. But yeah, I've noticed that it just does definitely make me feel better. So the next thing that helps is having some sort of a hobby, something to do during the day, during the winter when you aren't doing as many things outdoors or you're not dressing up and going out. It's just something to kind of keep you doing something fun. You need something fun to fill your days. And so for me, I obviously do YouTube. I've gotten back into perfumes again. I have started antiquing and thrifting about a year or so ago. I have quite a large book collection. And so you have to have some kind of a hobby, something that makes you excited. I love getting perfume samples and decants in the mail. It really perks me up, especially when it's super cold out and miserable, and then you get a nice little package on your doorstep and you know that you get to experience a whole bunch of new perfumes. It really lifts my spirits. And so that's something that I really like. So hobbies is another thing that really helps. Another thing is finding excuses to dress up. So this would be going out for a nice dinner and wearing maybe a nice sweater dress and some knee-high boots, something like that you're not going to wear in the summertime. My boyfriend and I even do little things where we rent a hotel room and get a jacuzzi or something, and we dress up and we enjoy a glass of wine and we kind of have a staycation. So not at home because we get away from the dogs and we get away just the two of us where we have a little bit of privacy. But I will often wear a nice dress just for that, even though we're not going anywhere special. And we'll go for dinner. So finding excuses and reasons to dress up even in the winter, because like I said, for me, something that brings me a lot of joy and just makes me feel like a normal human is putting on a decent outfit, not even anything special, but in the summertime, wearing my nice skirts and my dresses and my ballet flats and my nice cardigans, my jewelry, and being able to go places without having to worry about getting snowed on or freezing. I don't get to do that in the winter. So really important to find those occasions. And even if you can afford it, planning yourself a trip in the middle of winter. I know lots of people who go down south multiple times in the winter and they have the right idea. Eventually, that is something I would like to do. Right now, it's kind of not really feasible. There's just too many things going on in my life. But yeah, even having a small trip in the middle of winter to a hot place, to a place with sun, really, really helps. The next thing is embracing the coziness and the cold, which includes not skimping out on nice winter things. So for example, I was driving a car for the longest time, a little sedan, and it was just a front wheel drive, and I was getting stuck left, right, and center in the snow. I was always scared to leave the house in the winter because I was worried about the road conditions and would my car bottom out and would I get stuck. It just adds another level to the fact that winter sucks, but then in general, when you feel like you can't even drive to the store without getting stuck, and then the anxiety around that. So finally I decided to trade my car in for an SUV, and it's the best thing I ever did. I always used to have an SUV, and I'm so glad that I'm back in one now. So now I've got obviously all-wheel drive and I've got really good tires on my car, and it's a nice car, it just makes things a little better. So not skimping out, like get yourself a nice pair of winter boots. I have to walk the dogs and I have to be outside in the snow quite a bit. So I got myself like a really cute pair of boots from, I think, Aldo or Call It Spring. They weren't even expensive, but they're just like cute, decent looking boots that keep me warm. They're non-slip. They don't look ugly, like they're fine. Things like warm blankets and candles and just embracing the coziness and the warmth of the season, using it as an excuse to light candles and have lamps on and ambient lighting and, warm furry blankets on the couch. Faux fur jacket, it's white, and it just makes me feel a little bit more glamorous and pretty in the wintertime. I don't wear it to walk the dogs because I don't want to risk getting it dirty, but just for day to day or even going to the gym, I love my white fur coat. It just makes me feel a little bit more glamorous, and it's something that I'm not going to be wearing in the summer, obviously. So winter is like faux fur jacket season. It is the only season that you would want to wear a faux fur coat. So I kind of try to look at it that way, like, oh, I can wear my nice fur coat now. So just trying to embrace those kind of things. Also, I find it really cozy and relaxing watching a lot of outdoor channels. This is going to sound very strange because it's totally off brand for me, but I love watching like Outdoor Boys or like bushcraft shows where people go out in the wilderness and like build a fire and make a shelter and just camp overnight in the snow, and the way that they keep warm. I find it very cozy. And so a lot of times I actually like to just literally sleep on the couch, or if I'm falling asleep in my bed, I will fall asleep listening to some of those videos, because I just find it so cozy when they're like out in the winter, and they're obviously much colder than I am. So I think to myself, well, if they're enjoying the cold, I can certainly enjoy the cold in the comfort of my own home. And it just like ups the coziness factor. It helps you fall asleep watching that kind of stuff, and all the things that are not summery. The fact that I don't have to have the air conditioning running, the fact that it's not humid or anything like that. Like some of the things that can be annoying about summer, the fact that there's no mosquitoes, like there are benefits to the winter. The next thing is cleaning, decluttering, and organizing. So these are things I do anyway, but these are things that bring me a lot of happiness and a feeling of productivity and enjoyment, I guess. Like I always love the way a clean, organized home looks, and I find it even more important in winter because it is so hard to enjoy like winter as it is. And then also like when you walk the dogs, when they come in the house, their paws are often wet or they've got sand on them and you have to clean them. And it's just harder to keep the house clean in winter. I find there's always little gravel pellets or like little dirt pellets or something coming in with our shoes, coming in with the dogs. So it's harder to keep the house clean in the winter. So I think that cleaning the house becomes even more important in the wintertime, and making sure that your home is your haven. You have to definitely be enjoying the inside of your home, because outside is kind of miserable in the winter. So inside has to be even better. So I like things to be very clean, very organized. I like things to be pretty. I really like to up the prettiness factor inside my home, whether that's putting out some nice flowers or decorating the bedroom or decluttering my closet, reorganizing my closet, just like taking joy in anything I can inside the home, because outside is more difficult to enjoy. Another thing that really helps is having warm baths. And I put this one by itself. I'm not really sure. This one could have been in the embracing the coziness category, but something I don't do in the summertime is have a hot bath, because it's already warm, and usually in the summer the goal is to stay cool. So I just never think to have like a hot bath. But in the winter, I love having a warm, cozy bath with like bubbles and bath salts and something nice to drink. Usually I drink just like a non-sugar, non-alcoholic, something like a bubbly drink, but it really, really just helps at the end of the day. I really look forward to hopping into a nice warm bath on a very, very cold day. It's kind of like my little treat after I've been outdoors, taking the garbage out, walking the dogs, and driving to and from work in the cold weather. Another thing is to prioritize myself. This kind of goes all year round anyway, and it's something that I'm learning how to do and I'm not really good at. I'm really good at putting everything else before myself. I'm really good at letting the dogs sort of rule the day, so to speak, where, if they're like whining and wanting to go, I'm like, okay, sure, let's go for another walk, even though I might not feel like going for another walk. Or, I'm good at busting my butt at work and somehow feeling like maybe I'm going to get some sort of pat on the back for only stopping for a 10-minute lunch break when I could really take a much longer lunch break. A lot of other people take a long lunch break, and I'm for some reason feeling like I'm virtuous in some way because I'm like, oh, I only took a 10-minute lunch break today. Look at me. I worked so hard. And then I drove home and let the dog out to pee, and then I went right back to work. And I was up at 4:30 in the morning walking my dog. Like, look how hard I work. Like, nobody is going to give you a pat on the back for that. You're not going to get some sort of a medal for that, and all you're going to do is wear yourself out. Like, you need to set boundaries in your life, whatever you have to do to make your life easier on yourself. So for example, when it's too cold out or there's a really bad wind chill or it's like a nasty storm, I know that last winter, I took my dog out to the dog park regardless because he wasn't bothered by the cold. It was just me who was bothered by the cold. And I was like, oh, well, he needs it, so I'll take him. This year, I was like, no, I am setting some boundaries. I do not want to stand outside freezing my face off, feeling like my face is literally going to fall off, hating every second of my life just to be out here for 20 minutes to take him out. I was like, we have to compromise somewhere. So when it's nice days, we will go out and we will stay out longer. But when it's really cold, we're not going to the dog park like most people don't, right? So I needed to put some boundaries in place for myself, taking days off, saying no to things, saying no to obligations, saying no to people. You're tempted to pick up the slack somewhere because somebody else, wasn't doing something and you feel like you should jump in and help. It's like, you don't have to. Like, if it makes you feel good and you want to, sure, but you have to learn how to put boundaries. Another thing that helps is to reframe it a little bit. So I try to look at the positive side of winter. And one of the positive sides of winter is that it is a really good break for my skin because we're not out in the sun as much. And I'm really good with like skincare and sun protection and stuff like that anyways. But in the winter, it's kind of like forced. It's like a forced break for my skin. Like, even if I don't put my sunscreen on, it's not a big deal. I do every day anyway for the most part, but I don't have to be as concerned. So it's kind of like I try to look at it as like a hibernation. Like, it's a little break. It's a little time to slow down. And, if I do want to just live in sweatpants for the week, I can do that. Not that it makes you feel very good about yourself, but it's kind of like a forced break. It's a forced slow down time to be indoors in a quieter, more cozy environment and focusing on like softer things, like peace and quiet and darkness and books and candles and all those things that are like kind of the opposite of summer. Summer is more like go, go, go. Everyone's busy. Everyone's excited and energized. They want to be outside. You have to kind of almost look at it like, okay, this is your break. This is like your hibernation time is what I kind of look at it. And as much as, the thing is, I don't need 6 months of hibernation. Like, 1 or 2 months would be good. 2 or 3 months tops would be good. So I'm really grateful that spring is only like 2 months away. Literally, we have January, February, and then it's going to start feeling like spring. And the last thing that I find really helps is, I don't know what category to put this under. I'm going to call it medication and supplement. So I don't want to promote anything to people. I'm just telling you what helps me. So one of my vices is coffee. Coffee really helps. I love what it tastes like, and I love that it gives me energy. I've also recently discovered Red Bull, which I shouldn't be promoting. I know that because Red Bull are not really good for you, although there are worse energy drinks on the market. But I will have like a sugar-free Red Bull every now and again, especially during my PMS week when I find that I have very little energy, because otherwise some days I would literally just get nothing done and I would want to do nothing and I would feel really down in the dumps. After I have a Red Bull, I just have so much more energy and I feel like alert and awake and motivated. Like, if I didn't want to go to the gym before, after I have my Red Bull, then I do want to go to the gym. If I didn't feel like cleaning the house and taking out the garbage and taking the dogs for a walk, if I have a Red Bull, then about 20 minutes later, I do feel like doing those things. I do have the energy. And I think that's a pretty small price to pay. It's not like it's a crazy stimulant or something. It's just a lot of B vitamins and some caffeine. I try not to have things like that too much because I don't like having things that are like chemical, artificial. I don't like artificial sweeteners, things like that, but they really do help. And you kind of have to look at what is the lesser of two evils. Would you rather feel down in the dumps and have no energy and get nothing done? Or would you rather have a Red Bull now and again? I really find that it helps. And also taking vitamin D, obviously, because I'm not getting as much natural vitamin D from the sun. So I do take vitamin D supplements. I usually take them in the summer anyway, just being in Canada, we're further from the equator. But in the winter, I definitely make sure to prioritize taking vitamin D. And lastly would be the medication category. I have found that I definitely do benefit sometimes from an antidepressant in the winter. I'm not taking one right now, but I have taken them on and off in the last couple of years, and they have really, really helped in the wintertime. It's just that there are so many side effects. The one that I found worked the best for me, that had the fewest side effects and kind of helped to chill me out the most, particularly with PMDD, not so much seasonal affective, but just like chilled me out when I was just irritated and annoyed with the snow, the walking outside with the dogs, driving in the winter, having to take my daughter to sports when it was like storming out, and just like getting irritable and just not wanting to have to leave my house, but not really having a choice because I have a daughter and I have dogs and I can't really help it. Prozac was very, very helpful for that, but I didn't like that it made me feel like a zombie who had no emotions. It made me very tired. It made me very unmotivated. It made me feel very lazy. In a sense, that's a good way to be in the wintertime. You know, it takes the edge off and it makes you feel sort of chill, but it also took away my creative desires and my motivations, and it's like I wasn't doing much, but I didn't care that I wasn't doing much. But for me, I'm happier when I do things. I'm happier when I'm productive, when I go to the gym, when I work out, when I make YouTube videos, when I clean my house, when I enjoy, going for walks and stuff. So I want to be motivated. I want to have energy. When I take antidepressants, I don't have that. It takes the edge off and it fixes the problem of like irritability, sadness, depression, all that stuff. But it also just takes away the joy as well out of life. It just makes me feel like a numb zombie. So it's not as helpful. One thing that I found that I recently started doing that has been very, very helpful is hormonal therapy, which makes sense because for me, I mostly struggle with PMDD. It's a hormonal problem. Why not fix it hormonally? So I have started using some hormone therapy during the luteal phase of my cycle. I literally just started this month and it has made a world of difference. I had absolutely no side effects and it was night and day in terms of my mood, my energy. My PMDD was 90% better. I still did get a little irritable. I still did get a little tired. I still had a little bit of food cravings. I had a little bit of like the physical symptoms of PMS, but they were 10 times better. So I don't know why I didn't go this route sooner. I think it's because hormonal therapy is like third line treatment for PMDD. Usually they start out with antidepressants. But I can safely say now that I have tried many, many, many things, and the hormonal therapy has been the most helpful. And so that is what I plan to do going forward, especially in the winter time. So you guys, that is it for the 10 or so things that I find are very helpful to help get me through winter. Winter kind of does suck in a way, but it doesn't have to suck as bad. And these are just some things that I noticed really help me out. So all of that being said, I can hear my dog whining. It's extremely cold out. It is -17 currently and it is snowing, but they need to go out for a walk. I'm probably going to go down and take them for a short little walk. And then I think I'm going to do some house cleaning, organizing, etc. Yeah, that's about it. So hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. If you live in Canada or even in like any place that experiences winter and you find it difficult, just know that you're not alone and know that you can still live a fabulous life and enjoy fabulous things even in the winter time. And I am in the same boat with you guys. If you want to, you can feel free to join me on Instagram. And just like I find it very helpful to connect with other people who like also live during the winter and find ways to still enjoy it and get through it. Because there's a lot of us. All of us who live here in Canada know what it's like to go through winter. And so obviously like it can't be that bad. It's not just you. You're not alone. It can make you feel alone, but you're not. So that's it for today, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you all very soon in my next one. Bye for now.